Okay, let's try this. So, today what we're going to try to do is show you guys how to install the software that we're going to need in order to do what it is that we're going to be doing this summer. Um, you guys may notice that what we actually install isn't what we normally use when we do robot programming, and that's because specifically when it comes to Eclipse, um, I'm not I'm not ready for you guys to be working exclusively in Eclipse. I think that for new programmers, Eclipse it can be a little bit overwhelming. So we're going to actually start out with what one of the environments that I started with, which was BlueJ. Uh, BlueJ being conventionally one of the ones that is used when teaching uh, newer programmers, just because the interface is much more simplified and easier to get to know than something like Eclipse, which has a lot going on. That being said, the first thing that I want to show you guys is something about how to check the uh, bit level of your computer. Now, this isn't so important that you need to know the reason why we're doing this, but just know that if one application is 64-bit and another application is 32-bit and they're supposed to work together, that won't happen. They won't be able to work together. So we need to make sure that you guys are downloading the right stuff when you go to download this software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this window, and the first place that you need to go to is your control panel. Now, if you're on a Windows machine, you can actually just search control panel, and it'll be like the first thing that shows up. That's usually what I do. Um, Now, most of you will probably have a view that looks a little bit different from mine. If I switch this back to category, this will probably look a bit more familiar to you. Um, Basically, where you want to head is to System and Security, and then click on System. And on this page, it will show you exactly what uh, operating system and what bit level you have. Specifically, you're looking for this right here. You guys should be able to see a blue pulse, bleh, pulse where I'm clicking right now. Um, that tells you uh, specifically what bit level your operating system is, which means that what we will be looking for is, at least for my computer, the 64-bit versions of the software that we're going to be downloading. Uh, I know that for a fact there is at least one of you that has a 32-bit system. Justin's tiny little Acer netbook is a 32-bit system because I believe it is running Windows 7 Starter. So he will have to download the 32-bit versions of the software. For the most part, most of you I expect will be 64-bit and you'll be fairly safe. Um, but it's hard for me to know exactly whether or not you guys are on one or the other without having you come here and actually looking. That being said, let's start the process of trying to download some of this software. The first thing that you're going to want to grab is um, something called the Java JDK. The JDK stands for Java Development Kit. Basically what it is it's a collection of tools that are provided for you to actually write and run code in Java. Um, Most people are accustomed to just running code in Java, so they download something called the JRE, the Java Runtime Environment. Um, but in this instance, we actually need to be able to write code, so we need the development kit as opposed to the runtime environment. The development kit does come with a copy of the runtime environment, but it's a slightly bigger, a slightly larger number of files, a slightly bigger download. Um, in order to actually do this. So the easiest way to do this is to just type download Java JDK 8 into Google. And like I said, do it in Google. Don't use Bing or anything. Um, you'll get weird results. Java is one of those things that you got to be careful of when you're looking for it online. Google does a really good job of making sure that you get the right page the first time. Uh, Bing and other search engines like it, like Yahoo and stuff like that, don't do as good of a job, and I don't want you guys downloading something that could cause problems later. So the page will look like this when you get there. Specifically, what we want to do is we want to download 8U131. I know that Java Java 9 is coming out soon, but I don't know if it's out yet or not at the time of making this video. I'm not going to worry about it. What it is adding is not going to be relevant to us at all. So basically, what all you have to do is make sure you click this Accept License Agreement radio button, and you'll be able to download any of these files. Now, obviously, none of you should be on Linux. I expect if you are, you'll have to let me know. One or two of you may be on Mac OS X, and that's fine. Um, we there's only one download for that, so that should be fairly obvious to you. For Windows, if you have a 32-bit system, then the x86 version is the one that you want to download. If you have a 64-bit system, then the 64-bit version is what you want to download. And you can just click whichever one of these links is relevant to you, and it will start the download. I'll click the 32-bit one, and you can see down here that the download has started. Now, I'm not going to sit here and have you guys watch me download that. I've already downloaded the version for my machine, which I already had installed originally, but I'll install it again. And I saved it to here. And basically what you'll end up with is a file like that. And it'll take less time for it to start up than it for you than it will for me. I'm doing this off of an external hard drive. But once it loads up, you'll be prompted with, standard installer sort of stuff. You can just click through next, 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 and then let it install. And it will take a few seconds depending on your computer. Newer computers will obviously have an easier time than older computers. Like just to pick on Justin's Acer some more, it will probably take a good 5 minutes to install Java on his machine. If he should have it already. But we'll click next. And it will go through and do its thing and take time and blah 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 blah. The next thing that we're gonna download is BlueJ. BlueJ being the actual environment that we're gonna write code in. I'm not quite sure how much longer this is gonna take, so we might as well start that process now. So if we go and we type download BlueJ, then in Google, the first result is bluej.org, which is exactly what we want. Oh, hey, it's done. Okay, so you can just close that out. You won't have to reboot or anything. If you're being told that you need to reboot after installing Java, no, don't. Something's not right. You downloaded not Java. But anyways, that being said, this is the download page for BlueJ. Basically, what we want to do is we want to grab whatever version is relevant to us. Now, obviously, this is for Linux and stuff like that. Like I said, most of you shouldn't be on Linux, or any of you shouldn't be on Linux. But if you're on Mac OS X, this is the one that you can download. On Windows, there is no 64-bit versus 32-bit issue with BlueJ. So you can just go ahead and click the Windows download and it will start. Now, one thing that I didn't mention before was that these installers are both fairly large. In total, BlueJ and the JDK are about 400 megabytes together. So it does take up quite a bit of download space. So if you're downloading this on a phone and you do have, if you're downloading this on a phone, like through a hotspot or something for your computer, um, just remember that you are going to use up a healthy chunk of data if you don't have unlimited data to do this. Keep that in mind. If you need copies of these for whatever reason, you can't get access to the internet or what have you, I can get you copies. That's easy enough. You just got to let me know. But that being said, I already have the latest version of BlueJ installed, not installed, but downloaded. So we'll go ahead and do that. And of course, it's going to take me a second longer to get it to load up. So you're just going to click through. There's no reason to do anything special here. And then you're gonna need admin permissions, obviously, to install stuff. I mean, that goes without saying. Um, but it will take a few seconds and wait for it to load up, and then it'll be done. And you shouldn't have to reboot for that either. Not anything that you should be rebooting for at all. Don't. Um, and then the last thing is VNC Viewer. Now, VNC Viewer wasn't included on the syllabus because at the time I didn't have any sort of expectation that I was going to be using it. VNC, let me see. VNC Viewer. So the company that makes this is called Real VNC. We're just using their viewer. You shouldn't have to pay for anything. Their viewer is free. It's always been free. Um, and the nice thing about the VNC website is it auto-detects your operating system. You don't have to make any sort of special effort in order to download it. You don't have to pick what you need to download. You just click Download VNC Viewer. So if I click that button, it starts to download. VNC Viewer is much, much, much smaller. It doesn't take nearly as long. But I already have a copy of it downloaded. Now, VNC Viewer comes as a prepackaged application. It's not actually an installer. So you can just download it right to your desktop. Just say that you read and accept these terms, and then you just click Got it, and it will open. We won't talk about this too much until probably the second class when we actually start doing some programming. I don't think that there'll be any reason for you guys to VNC into my computer to see what's going on during the first class, because it's going to be mostly me talking about general computer concepts. But we'll see. I haven't decided how I'm going to do the first class yet. But that being said, this video is more or less done. If you have any questions, please let me know, obviously. If you have any problems, let me know. I'd like to make sure that everybody has the stuff that they need to do this installed before the first class. Even though we probably won't be using any of it in the first class, I still want to make sure that everybody has it so we're not scrambling to try to get it installed before we're supposed to start a class, then waste time, and blah, 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 blah. So, that's about it. Trying to think if there's anything else. I guess not. Alright.